Over 35 years before Darth Sidious executed Order 66, the Dark Lord of the Sith would begin putting together the plan that would carry out the Jedi Purge and destroy the ancient enemy of the Sith Order. Even at this point, when discussing the logistics with his master Darth Plagueis, Sidious knew an attack that targeted the Jedi individually wouldn't work, and any attack had to destroy the Jedi from within, where they were entrapped by a plot of their own invention. But even still, Sidious recognized the Jedi had power, and the two Sith Lords understood that the dual requirement of taking down the Jedi and the Republic meant that no matter what their plan was, there would be survivors of their onslaught. When Order 66 was executed almost 4 decades later, some Jedi were of course able to escape. Because Sidious and Plagueis had already long foreseen that reality and prepared for it by turning the Jedi Order into the enemies of peace and justice, Sidious would tell his apprentice Darth Vader that these Jedi that remained were of no importance to them, serving as an example of humility the Jedi should endure for their centuries of arrogance. Yet despite all of these plans and foresight decades in the making, Sidious wasn't blind to the realities of Order 66 and those Jedi who survived it. In fact, just the opposite was true, as the Sith Lord had his suspicions of exactly which Jedi were most likely to survive Order 66, and in doing so, posed the greatest challenge to it. In Star Wars Legends, there were 3 categories of Jedi that are well defined within the Jedi Path Manual: the Guardians, the Consulars, and the Sentinels. In thinking about which of the 3 would be the greatest challenge for Order 66, one might think it would be either the Guardians or the Consulars. The Jedi Guardians were considered to be the first line of defense against the Republic's enemies. This branch was defined by its lightsabers, with the Jedi weapon becoming its symbol. It shouldn't be surprising that lightsaber training consumed the life of a Guardian, where it was suggested that at least an hour each day should be set aside for running, unarmed combat drills, and lightsaber cadences or sparring, attempting to become as proficient in combat as they could, and promising plenty of use of a Jedi's lightsaber. On the other hand, Jedi Consulars were defined by their profound skill and abilities with the Force, seeking to walk a path of harmony and peace within the Force as they upheld the central edicts of the Jedi Code. In this way, while they could become proficient in lightsaber combat, they more so relied on powerful Force abilities within battle. Given that Order 66 was a surprise attack against the Jedi, it might appear as though the greatest challenge for the success of Sidious's final step towards the destruction of the Jedi Order and the Sith Grand Plan would be those Jedi who were their greatest warriors and those who were most powerful in the Force. However, these Jedi were not a significant challenge for Order 66, as Sidious defined the Guardians as arrogant and thus an easy target for the Sith Grand Plan, and the Consulars as fools, with not one able to predict the Order's downfall despite their so-called profound skill with the Force. Instead, it was the third category of Jedi, known as the Jedi Sentinels, who were uniquely suited to survive Order 66 and its aftermath far better in relation to the Order's Guardians and Consulars, with Sidious clearly writing within the Jedi Path Manual, quote, "I suspect the majority of the Jedi survivors still at large belong to the Sentinel class. What makes their increased abilities to survive the grand plan of the Sith even more impressive is that they were likely the smallest of the 3 categories. As we've discussed in a previous video, the Sentinels were known to be so few in number as indicated in the rarity of yellow lightsabers, which were wielded by the Jedi Sentinels. Sidious was able to boldly predict that Sentinels were the majority of the Jedi who survived Order 66 and acted as a challenge to the complete destruction of the Jedi because these Jedi were defined by their balance between the Guardians and Consulars, acquiring skills from these other categories, but more importantly, combining them with the realm of non-Jedi expertise. This made Sentinels completely unique from the other 2 categories of Jedi. For example, in realizing that Jedi were far too closed off from the galaxy and its realities, Sentinels took the view that it was possible to study and know too much about lightsaber combat and the Force, recognizing the need for other skills. It was this principle that pushed Sentinels into the study of intelligence gathering, computer slicing, technological surveillance, and espionage. With these skills, Sentinels would go on to act as the Order's investigators, spies, tech specialists, and experts in fields where other Jedi just wouldn't sharpen their talents. These skills were crucial and a real blind spot for other Jedi practitioners, as the Force didn't offer any shortcuts or increased knowledge in these areas. As the Jedi path makes clear, the Force had severe limitations when it came to technological countermeasures, and thus, these skills had to be learned by Jedi through practice and not increase proficiency with the Force. With these skills, when the Jedi were required to run and hide within the shadows of the galaxy to avoid detection after Order 66, it's no wonder why it was the Jedi Sentinels who likely comprised the majority of those who lived into the Imperial era. As the well-known Jedi Sentinel Morit Chigali explained, Sentinels were adept at concealing themselves and their skills as required, finding it easier to distance themselves from the traditional path and qualities of a Jedi by studying the tremendous knowledge to be gained from the citizens of the galaxy. As Obi-Wan defined in his warning to all those who survived Order 66 to avoid the Jedi Temple and detection and to be secret during the era of the Empire, it would be far better to have training as a Jedi Shadow, a well-known subcategory under the Sentinels, than as a warrior master within the realm of the Guardians. It's a great insight within the Legends lore from Sidious, understanding that it was those Jedi who were defined by their lightsaber skills and abilities with the Force who were most susceptible when targeted by Order 66 and its aftermath. While Sidious had long known that there would be some who would survive the onslaught that completed the Sith Grand Plan, he was able to recognize that it was Jedi who uniquely developed skills not traditionally found within the Jedi Order but the galaxy at large, who were the majority that remained during the height of the Empire, and thus posed a challenge to the complete destruction of the Jedi through Order 66. So there we have it, why the Jedi Sentinels earned Sidious's attention in relation to Order 66 and the Sith Grand Plan. Thank you very much to all of the Patreon members of Star Wars Reading Club, as your support is so greatly appreciated. You can find all of our social media links and a link to our Star Wars gaming channel in the description below for updates and even more Star Wars content. We love making these videos, so why not subscribe for more fun Star Wars theories and discussions. Also, if you enjoyed the video, think about giving a like or leaving a comment. If not for me... for Jedi Shadows.